This is the Nerdball Podcast with Lorenzo Melchor.
Thank you for downloading this episode of the Nerdball Podcast. I am Lorenzo, the host. If you are new, if you are old, I'm still Lorenzo, the host. So thank you to everyone who always listens, downloads, watches on YouTube, shares, likes, any of that stuff. Helps the podcast grow. You guys are a great community, Nerdball community, and hoping to continue to make that grow. It is just me on this one, kind of, I guess, just an update. Nothing too long or crazy. We'll see how long I talk. Maybe it's only 5 minutes. We had some scheduling issues, and I've been sick the past week too, as you can probably still hear, and it's hard to try to plan stuff when you don't know how you're going to feel. So it is what it is this week. So we're creeping up on 200, and that one is recorded. So I'm good there. Now we just got to get to 200. So we'll see how that works out. But it's been, like I said, every time it's super exciting to do these episodes, and to, even our the other podcast on the Nerdball Network, 3 Different Dads. That's super fun. And I said on the last episode towards the end, I was like, if you're kind of like good friends and you just want to solidify a friendship, start a podcast. Maybe it'll go the other way for you guys, but for me, it's really solidified the friendship I have with the other dads, Jim and Tyler. And it's something I look forward to every Monday, recording every Monday night. So yeah, it's all fun. And I guess that's what I nerd out about right now, is just podcasts, because it's a lot of time. If I do 2 episodes of the Nerdball Podcast and one of 3 Different Dads, it's 3 hours of podcasting, not including editing. So it's probably about 4 hours total a week, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when you have children and you're a job and you're married and everyone has things that they got to do, we got to fit these things in. So, also big thanks goes to my wife, Andrea, because a couple hours, 3 hours a week, I'm like, hey, I'm going to be in the basement for an hour while you're, manning the house, womaning the house, keeping everybody under control up here. So it's a lot. And, with football season over now, unfortunately, it's a little easier time-wise because I'm around more, so I can help out more. But sometimes, what I find too is sometimes people get in a groove because they're used to, like, football season started the last weekend in July. And Andrea would get in a groove of things like, this is just how it's been getting done and how I'm doing it. And I got to remind her, like, okay, well, I'm here now, so I can help you too. But she does an excellent job. So part of me doesn't want to ruin that, but part of me also knows, like, that's what I'm here for now, is to ruin her groove, because ultimately it'll make her day better or more open if I can take someone to a practice or pick them up or go grocery shopping or make dinner and that kind of stuff. So again, thanks to Andrea for being there while I'm podcasting and being there while I'm coaching football, because it's something I could not do without her. So I appreciate that. Speaking of football, obviously the season did not go how we wanted to. It ends miserable for everybody in Division I football except for one team. And the one time that it ended happily was the COVID year, when we went to the playoffs, lost, and still had one more regular season game that we won. And that is the only time that I remember ending a season happy, because normally it's the playoffs and you lose and that's your last game. But in that COVID year, our last game was a win, and it felt weird because we knew it was over, but everyone was happy because we won, and we won the league title, and cheers were had all around, but there was no more playoffs to be had because we already did that and we already lost. So that's the hardest part too, is like, obviously we work hard as coaches. The kids work hard to play football, and everyone is upset at the end, crying, and it's hard as a coach. Like, every year, that's just how it ends, and you try to prepare yourself to console the kids as much as you can, and they have better parents there, and so they're there too, obviously. But as a coach, you try to do that, and you talk to the seniors that this is their last game, and how much they meant to you and how much, you enjoyed coaching them. And I try to talk to parents as much as I can too, because I can't always do that during the season or do it at our banquet that we haven't had yet. So like, it is a good time to just sit and be able to talk for a couple minutes about that player, be it with his parents or with him, because sometimes they don't always hear that from their coach. Like their parents are their parents, and they're going to tell them they love them, and they're going to tell them that they did a great job and that kind of stuff. And sometimes that falls by the wayside. And maybe that's just me. Maybe I do a better. Maybe I have to do better and try and do that more. But I've told the tight ends when I have a little offensive pregame meeting that there was a couple games where I did say, guys, I love you guys. Like, I'm here a lot with you guys, and we got to make this relationship work. And we invest so much time and so much, just being there and emotionally, like it is turns into a great relationship. And credit to those kids too, because every year, no matter the dynamic of the group I'm coaching, they are ready to learn and ready to be coached. And it changes little things here or there, but it doesn't change the fact that I love them. I love being there, and I want to coach them. And and that's a big part of coaching, like just building those relationships. I've said it plenty of times on this podcast, building those relationships. And that's why the end is so difficult, because you're losing some of those kids you coached, and it's going to change the dynamic of my tight ends. It's going to change the dynamic of the group next year. So, just being able to talk to them and say, hey, great job, and enjoyed coaching them, and, hoping they do well in the future and that kind of stuff, as, all that coach speak. But it's tough. It is a tough ending. And like I said at the beginning of this rant, it's only happy for one team at the end. So that wasn't us this year, and we'll get back at it next year. Before we know it, it'll be August, and 2 days will be here. So as I say this before Thanksgiving, that's how it goes, man. It's quick though. It's quick. Work has been pretty busy since football season. And this is the first week with no football. And I was there, I had long hours just because we were getting ready for our ice skating. So if you don't know, I work for the Metroparks Toledo. I'm the supervisor at Glass City Metropark, the new one downtown on East Side, right on Front Street, East Side of Toledo. And we have ice skating there. It's a cool outdoor ice skating ribbon. And it just opened this past weekend. And it was pretty crowded this weekend. So that was good. It was good to see people out there, people having fun, enjoying it. And that's what we built it for. But there was a lot of headaches and issues and stuff that we had to deal with all week. So hopefully I can scale back and keep it under 9 hours a day. Because like I've said here, like it's good to have that nice work-life balance. And my boss is really good about it, ensuring me that I making sure that I, I'm not there all day and getting my stuff done. And even this past week, I was supposed to have Friday off for Veterans Day, but I went into work and he's like, make sure you take Monday off. So, he's very, really good. His name's Craig. He's really good. And everyone in the Metroparks, it's a healthy environment. And we try to foster that just at a micro level at our park, as opposed to the entire park system. But if you haven't checked it out, we were open last week, very limited. If you haven't checked it out, the ice skating, please check it out. You can make reservations, or you can just show up and buy some skates. There are certain skate times because they do have to cut the ice with a Zamboni. We have our own Zamboni. So if you're out there and you get to see it, we have Boggs, one of our Metroparks mascots, painted on the side of it, which I thought was pretty cool. It looks pretty neat out there. So yeah, go check it out. I think it's every day. Skating is every day. I know this first week with temperatures being a little warmer, it's more in the evening than during the late afternoon. But check out the website. Just go to Metroparks Toledo and find the ribbon page, and you can get all the reservations there. We also have these cool cabanas. They hold about 10 to 15 people. They have a heater and their own fire pit outside. So, and with chairs and cushions and couches and stuff. So check that out. You can rent those too for a couple hours at a time. They're pretty cool. They're pretty neat. Our construction team put a lot of work into those, and they look really nice. So check that out. The Metroparks are great. If you haven't checked one out, find your nearest one. If you live in Lucas County, they're 5 minutes away from you. One at least 5 minutes away from you. So check them out. And reach out to me. Tell me what your favorite Metropark is at the nerdballpodcast@gmail.com. I don't know what else there is. Winter for me, usually I get back into smoking, like using not smoking. As I sound horrible, not smoking cigarettes, but smoking, using my smoker. I've done a few things already, but usually I do a lot of cheese, and I have a bunch of meat in the freezer that I gotta freeze. I did a chili, over the pot chili. You just take the big hunk of meat, hunk of beef, make a loaf out of it, set it on the top rack, and then underneath you have the chili base, like the spices, the sauces, the beans, everything minus the meat, and you put it in a smoker, and it just sits there. And as it's smoking, it drips into the pan on the bottom, and then you grind up the meat and throw it in the chili. I made that a few times. People really enjoyed that. Again, cheese. In winter, cheese it's the best time to smoke cheese because it's cold. So you cold smoke it. I've done that in the past few years. I am in charge of the turkey for my family's Thanksgiving. I thought about smoking it, but I also don't want to. I've never done it before, and I don't want to ruin it for Thanksgiving. So I might do something else. Um, Spatchcocked a turkey before. I don't know if anybody knows what that is, but that's a nice, easy way to do a turkey is when you cut off the backbone, remove the backbone, you can flatten the bird down, the turkey, on a big sheet, and then put it in the oven. That way, it cooks everything more evenly. So I think I'm going to do that for my family's Thanksgiving. Um, what else? I don't know. Holidays are coming up, and as always, as parents, we always feel like we don't have enough time to buy presents, and also it's getting more difficult to buy presents. Not so much for our daughter because she's younger, but for our son, um, we don't know a lot of stuff to buy for him, and it makes it a little more difficult. I mean, he's super into video games right now. Obviously, he loves Pokemon. I talk about that all the time. So that's some stuff we can handle. But then with other people, he has grandparents that want to buy him stuff. And, as much as we say just give them money, grandparents like to see them open gifts. I like to see them open gifts, not just like here's some cash or whatever, like open some gifts. So it's difficult. So if you have any ideas for a 12-year-old boy who likes video games, all kinds of sports, and for a 9-year-old girl who is into a bunch of girly stuff, let me know. The Nerdball Podcast at gmail.com, or text me, as I'm sure you have my phone number if you're listening to this podcast. I'm doing another show at Levi and Lilac on Wednesday, November 22nd, the day before Thanksgiving. Come check that out. It's not going to be a super late night. I think we're starting at like 6:45 or 7 o'clock. It's not going to be super late. So you can still, pregame there and go out and do what you want to do the other places. It's going to be a fun time. I'm excited. I'm doing about 15 minutes, which I haven't done that amount of time in a while. Last time I did 5 and it was awesome. I really enjoyed myself. Kind of got that bug back. Like I don't have time for it for comedy, but I did enjoy being on stage again and talking in the microphone and talking to, making people laugh. So I have been writing more. Obviously I need to write more for this, but I have some stories and I have some things that I'm going to talk about. So I'm excited for it. But tickets, there's a Facebook page for it. I think it's called like Giving Thanks. It's presented by Real JP Multimedia and Nerdball Podcast. I will put it in the show notes though, and that way you can sign. All you do is PayPal. My producing partner and helper and founder of this podcast, Jake Pilewski. You PayPal him. Tickets are $15 a piece, and you can get your seats. Guarantee that you get your seats. I'm hoping we get close to selling this out. We got some pretty important people around town that are involved in the show. So hopefully we can sell it out and make it a real fun night. At the end, we'll be doing dad jokes. So I'm hoping to, it's going to be me and Matt Killam, who also works at the Metroparks, who does improv. He's a great guy. So me and him are finishing the night with some dad jokes. So if you have any dad jokes that you would like to be said, email me at the nerdballpodcast@gmail.com, because I am looking for any and all dad jokes. This would be the perfect thing for 3 different dads, but one dad lives in another state. So it is not to be. But anyway, I'm looking forward to that show because, again, this comedy thing is it's really something that was important to me for a long time. And Andrea followed me around. She whatever I want to do, she's like, yep, let's go for it. And I even asked her one time when I was really into comedy about 5 years ago, I was like, what if I just wanted to quit my job and do comedy full time. She's like, I would just need to see a plan, and we'll help you with the plan, and we'll make it work. So she's all about me, and I'm all about her, and I guess that's what makes our marriage so good. So, um, so yeah, so the people involved in this show, me, Jake, Anna Garrison, who she has a book coming out, so she's going to tell some stories from her book. Comedian Aaron Burrell, and then, like I said, Matt Killam. So, giving thanks, night of stories, laughter, and gratitude. Wednesday, November 22nd, 6:45. Levi and Lilac in the Listening Loft. That's where we had our last show. Check it out. It's getting a lot of interest. A lot of people marked interested in the Facebook group, but again, I will put it in the show notes. And if you could, mark it interested or let your go in and buy some tickets. It's as simple as PayPaling Jake $15. So hope you can make it. Hope we can see you there. I'm trying to make sure it is $15 exactly, but where does it say here? Yep, $15 each. PayPal, search Reel REEL JP concerts with the tag caption tickets for GT1122. All that will be in the show notes. So you don't have to. I'm just reading. I'm just rambling at this point. I don't know how long I've been podcasting. We had a schedule mix up, and I don't want to not have an episode. The past few weeks I've had one episode, and I'm trying to stay on those two. And I'm recording another one, so we'll have two this week. Hopefully, as long as everything goes well tonight. And I already have the 200th recorded, which I think is funny. We talked about on the 200th. We talked about the show on the 22nd, and the 200th episode is coming out Thanksgiving, so it'll be after the show. So I'm going to push this show hard on here and on Facebook. So I apologize in advance. I think that's it. Again, I appreciate everyone that listens and watches this on YouTube. There are many ways to get in contact with the podcast. Obviously, you go to YouTube, search the Nerdball Podcast. You'll see our logo pop up. Click on that, hit subscribe. It'd be nice to be able to get to 150 subscribers by the end of the year. I'm at 125 right now. So if you haven't subscribed, hit subscribe. That'd be great. Facebook is search the Nerdball Podcast. Instagram, the Nerdball Podcast. On X, it's the Nerdball Pod. So you can search all that. And of course, the Gmail, I've said 3 times this episode, the Nerdball Podcast at gmail.com. Reach us for any info that you need or questions or guest ideas can be found there. The Nerdball Podcast at gmail.com. Check out Our Other Show, 3 Different Dads, comes out every Wednesday morning. The email for that is 3differentdads at gmail.com. Again, love the support. I love running into people and saying that they listen or they listen to the podcast, or they, this one episode we did was really cool, or whatever they talk about. It's really cool to hear all that. So thanks again to everybody. As always, thanks to Real JP Multimedia, Cuttlefish Graphics, Perrysburg Junior High STEM Lab, and Big Daddy Graphics for always helping out the podcast. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.